You wake up and you already feel it. Before your eyes fully open, before you remember what day it is, before you think about anything specific, your body already knows. A tightness in your chest, tension in your neck, that quiet sense that something isn't right, that something needs to be handled, that you're late for something, even though you don't know what. Then you open your eyes. The day starts, and the feeling doesn't go away. It stays. It lives in you. It follows you through breakfast, through traffic, through work, through conversations, through silence. It's like you're always waiting for something bad to happen. Like the world is a test you didn't study for. Like any moment now, someone's going to realize you're not actually holding it together. And the worst part is, there's no clear reason. Nothing happened. No one demanded anything. No crisis, but your body is already ready for the worst. The alarm is already blaring, and you don't even remember turning it on. Some people call this generalized anxiety. Some call it stress. Some say it's just exhaustion. But what no one really explains is why your body decided it has to stay switched on all the time. Why you can't shut it off. Why even during good moments, even when you're supposed to be relaxing, there's a part of you that's buzzing, alert, tight, ready. Like relaxing is dangerous, like lowering your guard is a mistake. And you try taking deep breaths. You try positive thoughts. You try telling yourself that everything is fine, but your body doesn't buy it. It stays on edge, so you start to think something is wrong with you, that you're weak, that you can't handle life, that everyone else can cope and somehow you can't. But that's not it. It's not weakness, it's not failure, it's a system that learned to work this way, and that system has a name. We're going to spend some time inside this today. This isn't a quick answer video. It's not a miracle technique that fixes everything in 5 minutes. This is a longer walk, and I'm going to ask you to stay with me, because what we're moving through here isn't just about understanding anxiety. It's about understanding why it moved in, why it never shuts off, and most of all, what to do when you realize the alarm has been on for so long you don't even remember what life felt like without it. We're going to step into the life of an ordinary person, someone who could be you, or someone you know, and we're going to see how her body decided that staying alert all the time was the only way to survive. And we're also going to see this. It doesn't have to be forever. Change is possible, but change asks something uncomfortable. It asks you to look at something that hurts, something you'd rather ignore, something with a name. Have you noticed how hard it is to explain anxiety to someone who's never felt it? How hard it is to make someone understand that you can be in full panic for no clear reason, that you can be shaking, sweating, heart racing, and there's no obvious threat. People look at you and say, just relax, breathe, think about something else, like it's simple, like you haven't tried that 1,000 times, like the problem is lack of effort, but it's not. The alarm doesn't shut off because it believes it's still needed. It believes there's still danger, and as long as it believes that, it stays on. And you stay tired, because living on alert all the time is exhausting. It's like running a marathon every day without going anywhere. Your body burns energy. Your mind burns energy. And at the end of the day, you're wrecked, but nothing really happened. Then comes the guilt. Then the self-pressure. Then the feeling that life is slipping by. But listen closely to this. The alarm isn't on because you're weak. It's on because at some point in your life, it was useful. At some point, being alert protected you from something, from pain, from danger, from being caught off guard. Your body learned. It remembered. It decided this was how to keep you safe. Even if the situation changed, even if the danger passed, the body kept running the same program because it doesn't know it can stop. No one ever taught it how. And this is where the shadow comes in, because behind that constant alarm, behind that tension that never fully leaves, there's an old strategy. A strategy you learned when you were young, or when something was hard, or when you realized the world wasn't as safe as it looked. That strategy has a name, and when you name it, when you look at it directly, it loses some of its power, because it stops being an invisible monster and becomes something you can understand, something you can talk to, something you can retrain. The story I'm about to tell you isn't about anyone special. It's not someone with massive trauma, not someone with a terrible childhood. It's about someone ordinary, someone who grew up, went to school, worked, had friends, had relationships. From the outside she looked fine, but inside there was a quiet war happening all the time. And it started early. So early she can't even remember when. She just remembers the feeling that she had to stay alert, that she had to anticipate, that she had to prevent things from going wrong, because when things went wrong, it hurt. So her body learned that prevention was safer than repair, that being ready was better than being surprised. And back then, that made perfect sense. Her name is Anna. Anna grew up in a house where things shifted quickly. It wasn't violent, it wasn't chaotic, but the emotional weather depended on the adults. Some days her mum was light, playful, available. Other days, she was closed off, distant, irritable. So Anna learned to read the room. She learned the signs. She learned to anticipate. When her mum woke up in a bad mood, Anna knew to be quiet, to behave, to ask for nothing. When her dad came home exhausted, Anna knew it wasn't the time to talk about school problems. This wasn't a conscious choice. She didn't sit down and plan it. Her body scanned the environment and adjusted. And the more she got it right, the more she avoided tension, conflict, disappointment, the more her body reinforced the strategy. Staying alert worked. Anna grew up, went to school, made friends, but the alarm stayed on. At school she was the good kid, always on time, never forgot her materials, good grades. Teachers praised her, parents were proud, but inside, Anna was exhausted. Every test felt like a threat, every group project felt like a risk. Anything less than perfect felt like failure. She couldn't relax, couldn't get a B and be okay with it, couldn't forget an assignment without panicking, because her body had learned that mistakes were dangerous, that one slip could change everything. Even when nothing bad happened, even when no one yelled or criticized, her body still believed the floor could drop at any moment. Then Anna became an adult. She got a job, a good job, one she actually liked. But the alarm stayed on. Now the danger was different, disappointing her boss, not keeping up, being exposed as someone who didn't really belong there. So she worked more, came in early, left late, checked email on weekends, answered messages at night. Everyone thought she was dedicated, committed, a role model. But Anna wasn't being a role model. She was trying to survive, because in her mind, if she slowed down, if she relaxed, if she lowered her guard, something would go wrong. Someone would see she wasn't as capable as she looked, and she'd lose everything. Her body believed this. It lived as if the threat was real, all the time. And the worst part is, Anna knew it didn't make sense. She knew she was overdoing it. She knew she didn't need to be perfect. But knowing didn't change anything. Because when the body is on alert, the mind follows. The mind starts hunting for reasons, inventing threats, turning small things into disasters. An unanswered email becomes a crisis. A misunderstood comment becomes rejection. Silence becomes abandonment. Anna lived on an emotional roller coaster that never stopped, and everything she tried to fix it made it worse. More control brought more tension. Avoidance made her world smaller. Trying to calm down made her body resist even more. Eventually, she decided this was just who she was, that she was born anxious, that it was her personality, that nothing could change. But that's not true. It's not personality. It's not destiny. It's not genetics. It's learned, and if it was learned, it can be unlearned. But first, Anna had to understand what was really happening. The alarm wasn't on because the world was dangerous. It was on because her body learned it had to be ready. That difference matters, because when you think the problem is the world, you try to control the world, avoid everything, manage every detail, and that never works. But when you realize the problem is the alarm, you can work with the alarm. You can teach your body that it's safe, that it can lower its guard, that it can rest. That's what we're doing here. But before that, we have to look at the shadow, because it's the shadow that's been holding the alarm on this whole time. Anna's shadow has a name. Her name is Bitadus, the Sentinel. The Sentinel is the part of Anna that learned how to watch, the part that never sleeps, the part that's always scanning, always checking, always one step ahead. The Sentinel was born when Anna was young and realized the world was unpredictable, that people changed, that love came with conditions, conditions, that safety depended on staying alert, and the Sentinel did an incredible job. She kept Anna safe, she avoided conflict, she secured approval, she helped Anna become someone others saw as reliable, responsible, capable, but the Sentinel doesn't know how to stop, because she was trained never to stop. So now, even when the danger is gone, even when Anna is in safe places with safe people, the Sentinel keeps watch, and Anna's body pays the price. This is how the Sentinel works. She scans the environment non-stop. She looks for signs of threat, and when she finds something that might be dangerous, she sounds the alarm. The body reacts, heart racing, breath getting shallow, hands sweating, mind spiraling. Anna shifts into protection mode. She avoids, she controls, she hides, and the Sentinel thinks she's done her job, thinks she saved Anna again, but she didn't, because the danger wasn't real. It was a memory of danger. It was the body reacting as if it was still in that house where adults' moods shifted fast. That school where every grade felt like everything. That job where one mistake seemed fatal and Anna gets stuck in the loop. Alarm, reaction, confirmation, alarm again. Over and over. And the hardest part is this: the Sentinel is quiet. She doesn't speak. She just acts. So Anna doesn't realize she's being run by a part of her that learned to survive a very specific way. She only feels the consequences, the exhaustion, the tension, the inability to relax, and she assumes the problem is her, that she's broken, that she doesn't know how to live. But that's not true. The problem isn't Anna. It's the Sentinel, and the Sentinel needs to be seen, named, recognized for what she really is. An old strategy that once worked, but is now outdated. She doesn't need to be destroyed. She needs to be reorganized, because the Sentinel holds important information. She knows Anna's limits. She knows what hurts. She knows what needs care, but she doesn't need to be in charge. She doesn't need to make every decision. And that's where the opposite archetype comes in. The opposite of the Sentinel is the anchored one. The anchored one is the part of Anna that knows she's safe, that doesn't need to watch all the time, that trusts she can handle things when they actually happen. The anchored one lives in the present, not constantly in the future. This part isn't careless, it's not irresponsible, it's not naive. It simply understands this. Safety doesn't come from control, it comes from trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your ability to respond, trust that even if something goes wrong, you'll deal with it. And the anchored one doesn't fight the Sentinel, doesn't silence her, doesn't push her away. He just takes the lead. He shows a different way to be in the world, a way where the alarm doesn't have to be on all the time. But training the anchored one isn't easy, because Anna's body is used to the Sentinel. The body trusts her. The body believes that without her, Anna will get hurt. So every time Anna tries to relax, every time she lowers her guard, the alarm fires again. Because to the body, relaxing feels dangerous. And that's when Anna gives up, because it's easier to return to what's familiar, easier to stay alert than to tolerate the discomfort of learning something new. But that discomfort is where change happens. It's in those moments when the body is screaming danger and you choose to stay anyway that learning begins. Slowly, the body starts to realize nothing bad is happening, that safety is possible without constant vigilance. It takes time, repetition, patience, but it works. The trap Anna fell into, and maybe you have too, is believing the answer is to fight anxiety, to get rid of it, to control it, to be strong enough not to feel it. But listen carefully. The more you fight anxiety, the more power you give it, because fighting tells the body there is a threat, that something is wrong. So the body turns the alarm up. Anxiety grows, you get more desperate, and the cycle tightens. That's the trap. Thinking the problem is feeling, thinking that feeling anxious means you're failing. It doesn't. Anxiety isn't failure, it's information. It's the body showing you what it learned. And now you can teach it something new. What took Anna a long time to understand is this: anxiety isn't the enemy. It's an old messenger carrying outdated information. And when you stop fighting and start listening, everything shifts, because you realize you don't need anxiety to disappear. You just need to teach your body that it's safe, and you don't do that with thoughts or affirmations or visualization. You do it with action, with small actions that show the body it can lower its guard, that it can trust, that it can rest. That's what the 30-day training is about. And before we move into it, I need to tell you something. If you're still here, if you stayed with me this far, I know you're not looking for a magic fix. I know you've tried a lot already. Deep breathing, positive thinking, trying to calm yourself down, and it didn't fully work. That's okay, because what we're doing here isn't about making anxiety disappear. It's about changing your relationship with it, taking it out of the driver's seat, stepping back into your place. If this resonates, if you want to keep walking this with me, I'm going to ask you something simple. Subscribe, not because I need numbers, but because if you're here, really listening, you belong here. I want you to see what comes next. I want you to know you're not alone in this. And if you want, leave a comment. One word is enough. Maybe the name of the shadow that runs you. Maybe just me too. There's power in naming, power in sharing, power in realizing others are standing right here with you. Now let's continue. The 30-day training Anna began wasn't about eliminating the sentinel. It was about strengthening the anchored one, teaching the body that it's safe. And this training has 3 movements, 3 simple, deep movements. Repeated daily, they start to rewire the system. The first movement is this: lower the volume of the alarm. Moi. When the alarm is always on, when the body lives in emergency mode, you can't think clearly. You can't feel clearly. You can't act. You only react. And reaction keeps the cycle alive. So the first step is teaching the body that it can lower the volume, not shut it off, just lower it. And you don't do that by trying to calm down. You do it by showing the body that it's safe. How? Through physical presence, through anchoring, through sensation. Because the body doesn't understand words. It understands experience. So when the alarm goes off, tight chest, racing heart, spiraling mind, you don't fight it. You anchor. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the weight of your body in the chair. Press your fingers together. Rub your hands. Touch something with texture. Connect to what's real, what's here, what's now, and the body registers it. Oh, I'm here. Nothing is happening. The alarm turns down, not off, but down, and that's enough, because what you're training isn't the absence of anxiety, it's the ability to continue with it, to act even when the alarm is on. And the more you do this, the more you anchor in the present when the body pulls you into the future, the more the body learns it doesn't need to stay on guard all the time. The second movement is this: map the route. The alarm never goes off for no reason. Something in the present reminds the body of something in the past. And if you don't see that, you'll keep reacting blindly. So every day, Anna took 5 minutes to write, not journaling, not therapy. Mapping. She wrote, "Today the alarm went off when," and finished the sentence. Then, "This reminds me of," at first it was messy. Connections weren't clear, but patterns emerged. She noticed the alarm spiked when people took too long to reply, which echoed childhood silence, not knowing if she'd done something wrong. She noticed it spiked when she had to ask for help, because help once meant weakness. She noticed it spiked around conflict, because conflict once meant rejection. When you map it, things sharpen. You see the alarm isn't reacting to now, it's reacting to then, and you can start separating. This is memory, not reality. This person isn't that person. This moment isn't that moment. I'm not that child anymore. The body hears this. Slowly, quietly, but it hears. And the third movement is the most important, the one that changes everything. Act like the anchored one. You can understand the shadow. Name it, map it, but if you don't act differently, nothing shifts. And acting differently doesn't mean something big. It's not a dramatic decision, not a life overhaul. It's one small action each day that the anchored one would take, one thing the sentinel would try to stop. Anna started small, very small, because when your body is used to tension, any change feels huge, anything different feels dangerous. So she started with something that sounded almost ridiculous, But it wasn't. She started by leaving an email unanswered for 2 hours. That's it, because the sentinel told her to reply immediately, be available, be fast, be efficient, and Anna always listened, because not listening felt catastrophic, like she'd disappoint someone, lose her job, be seen as incompetent, but none of that was real. That was just the sentinel talking, so Anna tested it. She got an email, felt the urge to answer right away, felt the anxiety rise, felt the alarm go off, and she didn't reply. She waited 2 hours. Nothing happened. No one got mad. No one complained. No one thought she was incompetent, and Anna's body recorded that. It recorded, I'm safe, I can wait, I don't have to be ready all the time, and she kept going. She started leaving work on time, not an hour late, not 30 minutes late, on time. The sentinel screamed, said she was being irresponsible, that she was doing a bad job, that she'd regret it, but Anna left. She came back the next day, and everything was still there, waiting, in place. And she realized something important: work never ends. There's always another email, another task, another demand, and if she didn't set limits, work would take her entire life, and she didn't want that. She wanted a life. She wanted rest. She wanted presence. So she kept training the anchored one, kept making small choices that showed her body it was safe, that it could lower its guard, that it could trust, and something strange happened. At first, the anxiety got worse, because the body didn't understand. It thought she was doing something wrong, putting herself in danger. So the sentinel turned the volume up, raised the alarm, tried to pull Anna back to what felt safe. But Anna kept going, because she expected this. She knew the body would resist. She knew change wouldn't feel comfortable. She also knew it was temporary, that the body would learn, that it would adjust to a new normal. And that's exactly what happened. After a week, 2 weeks, the alarm started to quiet down. It went off less often. It wasn't as loud, and Anna started to feel something she hadn't felt in years: calm. Not all the time, not in every moment, but in small pockets, and that was enough, because now she knew it was real, not luck, not imagination. Training works. Small steps are what change everything, because the body doesn't change through big gestures or heroic decisions or promises. The body changes through repetition, consistency, tiny experiences that prove the new way is safe. The more you repeat, the more the body records it, the more it trusts, the more it relaxes. That's why the training lasts 30 days. 30 days is long enough for the body to realize this isn't temporary, not an experiment. It's a new way of living. And after 30 days, the training continues, because this isn't a phase, not a challenge. It's a restructuring, a rewiring, a new way of being in the world. But there was something else Anna had to learn, something no one really talks about. She had to learn how to tolerate boredom, because when you live on high alert, when your body is always speeding up, always reacting, always moving, boredom feels unbearable. Silence feels unbearable. Pauses feel unbearable, because the body doesn't know what to do with them. If nothing is happening, the body assumes danger. So you fill the space. You grab your phone, turn on the TV, find something to do, invent problems, create tasks. Busy feels safe. Busy feels productive. But busy is often just distraction, a way not to feel, not to stop, not to look at what's underneath. Anna had to train this too. She had to practice being still, not grabbing her phone every free minute, sitting on the couch doing nothing. No TV, no reading, no planning, just sitting. At first it was awful. The body reacted, the mind invented urgency. The sentinel screamed that there were better things to do, but Anna stayed, because she knew that without learning how to pause, she'd never leave autopilot, never leave survival mode, and she wanted more than survival. She wanted to live, so she stayed. She breathed, she felt, and the body learned that pauses aren't dangerous, that silence isn't a threat, that boredom isn't failure. And that changed everything, because she could finally be present, in conversations, in good moments, without already worrying about the next thing. She could feel alive, and the mapping continued. Every time the alarm went off, Anna wrote, and over time she noticed something else. A pattern she hadn't seen before. The alarm went off whenever she was close to something good. Praise, recognition, being seen. shining. That confused her. Why would the alarm fire when things were going well? Then she understood. The sentinel wasn't just afraid of danger. She was afraid of visibility, because visibility meant expectation, pressure, being expected to stay good. And what if she couldn't? What if she failed? What if she disappointed? So the sentinel sabotaged, pulled Anna back, made her shrink, made her hide, to avoid the risk of failing, of losing, of being abandoned. That was hard to see, because it meant a part of her was afraid of success, afraid of taking up space, afraid of being seen. Anna had to look at the child she once was, the child who learned that being too visible was dangerous, that shining too much was risky, that taking up space was wrong. She had to talk to that child. You can shine, you can take up space, you can be seen, and if someone doesn't like it, that's not your responsibility. You don't have to be small to belong. You're allowed to be whole. Her body listened, slowly, but it listened, and she trained this too, accepting compliments without deflecting, talking about achievements without minimizing, taking up space without apologizing. The sentinel resisted, but the anchored one was getting stronger, and then there was one day, a specific day when Anna realized something had changed. She was at work, received a new task, a hard one, the kind that used to trigger the alarm instantly. Panic, sleepless nights. But this time was different. She looked at the task, felt the tightness in her chest, felt the beginning of the alarm, and instead of spiraling, instead of entering emergency mode, she paused, breathed, anchored, felt her feet on the floor, and she thought, this is hard, and I can handle it. Not because I'm perfect, not because I know everything, but because I always have. And if I don't know, I'll ask. If I make a mistake, I'll fix it. The alarm lowered, didn't shut off, but it lowered. And she started working, calm, present, without panic. And she realized something quietly, clearly. The anchored one was in charge now. The sentinel was still there, but she wasn't driving anymore. Anna's 30 days were not linear. There were days she woke up feeling like she had gone backwards, like nothing had changed, like it was always going to be this way. On those days, she wanted to quit. She wanted to go back to what she already knew, because at least there she knew how to function. She knew how to survive, but then she remembered. She remembered that change is not a straight line. She remembered that the body takes time to trust. She remembered that relapse is not failure, it's part of the process. It's the body testing whether the new way is real, whether it's safe, whether it's here to stay. And she kept going. She kept anchoring. She kept mapping. She kept acting as the anchored one. And the bad days became shorter. They became less frequent. They became more tolerable. And the good days started to appear more often. And Anna began to trust. Trust the process, trust her body, trust herself. And there was one thing that made all the difference. One simple thing, something Anna started doing every single day. Every morning before doing anything else, she wrote 3 lines by hand on paper. The first line was, where the sentinel showed up yesterday. The second line was, what I did as the anchored one. The third line was, what I choose today. And this created continuity. It created awareness. It created intention. Because Anna stopped living on autopilot, stopped being controlled without realizing it, and started choosing even when it was hard, choosing even when her body resisted, choosing who she wanted to be. And that was power, that was freedom, that was life. Let me show you how this worked in practice. Let me show you a real example. One specific day, Anna woke up with the alarm already on. She hadn't even gotten out of bed yet, hadn't checked her phone, but her body was already tense, already alert, already preparing for the worst. In the past, she would have ignored it, pushed through, tried to move on with her day pretending everything was fine. But now she paused, she grabbed the paper, and she wrote, line 1. The sentinel showed up before I was even fully awake, already preparing my body for a day full of invisible threats. Line 2. Yesterday, as the anchored one, I left work on time even though the sentinel said I needed to stay. Line 3. Today I choose to start slowly, feel my body, and remember that safety doesn't come from control. And just by writing, Just by naming, just by bringing awareness, the alarm softened because she wasn't fighting anymore. She wasn't pretending. She was seeing, she was recognizing, she was choosing, and her body understood that she was in charge now, that she was no longer being driven by the alarm, and that changed everything. And it was through this process, through this 30-day journey, that Anna understood something fundamental, something she had never heard before. She understood that anxiety was not the problem. Anxiety was the symptom. The problem was the belief that she wasn't safe, the belief that she had to be ready at all times, the belief that one mistake would cost her everything. And as long as that belief was active, as long as her body believed it, the alarm would stay on. But when she began to change the belief, when she began to show her body that she was safe, that she could trust, that she could rest, the alarm began to turn off, slowly, gradually, but it did. And her life changed, not because life changed, but because she did, because she stopped living on high alert, stopped living in survival mode, and started living in presence. That doesn't mean Anna never felt anxiety again. It means she learned how to live with it. She learned not to be controlled by it. She learned to recognize when the sentinel was speaking, and she learned to choose the anchored one instead. And the more she did this, the easier it became. The more natural it felt, the more automatic it became, until one day she realized she wasn't thinking about it anymore. She wasn't consciously mapping. She wasn't consciously anchoring, because her body had learned. It had recorded it. The anchored one had become the new default, and the sentinel was still there. But now she was just background noise, a voice Anna could hear, thank, and ignore. And Anna's story is your story too, because all of us have an alarm, all of us have a shadow, all of us learned how to survive in a way that made sense back then, but doesn't anymore. And all of us can relearn. We can train a different way. We can choose a different posture. It's not easy, it's not fast, it's not magical, but it is possible. It is real and it works. And you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to figure everything out from scratch, because the shadow has a name, and when it has a name, it loses power. The name of your shadow might be the sentinel, like Anna's, or it might be something else. It might be the guardian, the invisible one, the perfectionist, anything that captures the strategy you learned. And when you name it, you see it. And when you see it, you can change it. This channel exists for that. Revealed Shadows exists to name, to reveal, to bring light where there has been shadow. And if you've made it this far, if you're here with me now, I want you to know one thing. You're not alone. You're not broken. You're not lost. You're just living with an alarm that never turns off. And that can change. And it will change. If you choose, if you train, if you keep going. And I'll be here. Every video, every story, every shadow revealed, because this is the journey, and I want you to keep walking it with me. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now, because there are more stories to tell, more shadows to name, more journeys to cross, and I want you here. I want you to be part of this, and if it feels safe, leave a comment. Tell me, what is the name of your shadow? What is the strategy you learned that is now running your life? It can be a word, a phrase, or simply, I feel this too, because there is power in sharing, power in realizing you're not alone, power in seeing that there are other people here on the other side of the screen, feeling the same thing, walking the same path, fighting the same fight. And if there's a topic you want me to explore, a shadow you want me to reveal, tell me that too, because this channel is for you, for those who are tired of living on high alert, tired of being controlled, ready to take their place. I'm here for that. The shadow has a name, and when it has a name, it loses power. So name it, look at it, recognize it, and choose. Choose the anchored one. Choose presence. Choose life, because you deserve to live, not just survive, to live. And that is possible, and it starts now. Stay with me, and we'll walk through this together.